The sun was sinking over Ethelberg, a city of mirrored towers and cobbled remnants of older centuries, casting long shadows across Grand Nexus Plaza. A silver Wayfarer sedan slipped silently between two armored SUVs. The driver emerged, tall, dark-skinned, dressed in a light dress shirt creased with wear, a leather satchel slung over one shoulder. He looked like a man who knew where he was going and had no reason to hurry. His name was Silas Thorne. He leaned against his car, reading his phone, oblivious to the paranoia blooming nearby. A woman in an adjacent luxury vehicle watched him suspiciously, air conditioning running, her hand poised near the lock button. He didn't notice her. Or maybe he did and simply didn't care. The anonymous call came 3 minutes later. Two security officers appeared, their boots echoing off concrete. They didn't hesitate. One of them raised his voice sharply. "And where I can see him, partner. This ain't your shanty town." Silas turned, slow and deliberate, eyes calm. "This is my car," he said, voice steady, coastal lilt evident. That accent, soft, southern, seemed to confirm their assumption. Without asking for ID, the taller officer grabbed his arm, yanked it behind his back, and shoved him against the scorching hood. His thin shirt offered no protection from the heat. The second officer readied the cuffs. No questions. No names. Just brown skin, a battered satchel, and a quiet tone, enough to make him guilty. Around them, curious glances turned to filming phones. A teenager in a sports jersey whispered, "Yo, this guy didn't even fight back." One of the officers smirked. "If you're gonna steal, at least dress the part." Their laughter echoed off the concrete beams. Silas didn't flinch. The satchel, his constant companion, was tossed into the back seat of the squad car without a second glance. At the precinct, the building smelled of stale coffee and fatigue. Lieutenant Hadrian Croft sat behind a desk cluttered with case files and cold takeout. His thinning hair was slicked back, his expression permanently unimpressed. He didn't even look up. "Another one," he muttered. "Says the car's his," the officer explained, amused. "But no ID. Got a thick accent, though." Croft finally looked up. "Coastal. Yep." "Then he's lying." Silas sat in the metal chair, cuffs still tight around his wrists. The chair creaked beneath him, but he didn't squirm. He watched them with unnerving patience. "What's your name?" Croft asked, barely hiding his boredom. "Dr. Silas Thorne, Federal Magistrate, 3rd Criminal Division, Ethelberg." The room went silent, then burst into laughter. One officer nearly dropped his coffee. "A magistrate?" Croft repeated, mocking. "With that shirt? That car?" Inside the satchel is a notebook with confidential data. Also, a Category of Federal badge. "Of course there is," Croft scoffed, waving his fingers. "Go on, check the magic satchel." The officer rummaged through it, dismissive, until he pulled out a blue hologram badge, secured in a reinforced plastic sleeve. Silence. Croft's smirk twitched. He looked at Flynn, the youngest officer, who stood frozen. Flynn crossed to the computer and typed. "Name? Silas Thorne. With an E." The database loaded slowly. Then there was photo, federal seal, title, Federal Magistrate, active. A moment passed where no one breathed. Flynn whispered, "It's real." Croft tried to recover. "That proves nothing. Could be stolen. There's a security guard at the plaza named Jenkins. He knows me. Check the tapes. I entered through the main gate." Flynn moved again, this time faster. He connected the body cam. The video began. Aggressive tone, racial slurs, illegal search. There was Jenkins trying to intervene. "He has an access card," he shouted, ignored and pushed aside. Then came a close-up of Silas's wrist. A silver watch. On the back, engraved words gleamed. "Thank you for your justice." Papa. Croft's jaw shifted. His arms remained crossed, but his grip tightened. Silas didn't raise his voice. "It's not the accent, not the clothes. It's the choice not to know." Croft opened his mouth. Silas kept going. "How many men are in holding cells behind that door? Labeled guilty without a question? Without even a name asked?" No one responded. Flynn walked forward slowly, trembling slightly as he reached for his pocket and retrieved the cuff key. He bent, unlocked the restraints. The sound echoed like thunder in the silence. Silas stood, wrists red, shoulders straight. "I didn't ask for anything," he said. "You gave me everything I needed." On record, the body cam was still recording. The paused frame still showed Jenkins shouting into the void. The badge still sat on the desk like a sentence no one wanted to read. And somewhere, deeper in the precinct, a phone began to ring, but no one moved to answer it. The cuffs dropped with a quiet clink. No echo, no fuss, but the gesture thundered louder than a courtroom gavel. Silas rubbed his wrists slowly. His eyes rose, steady and calm, meeting every gaze in the room, not with rage, but with the authority of a truth too heavy to ignore. Lieutenant Croft didn't speak. His smirk was gone, replaced by something brittle and unsure. Silas didn't accuse. He simply stood. And this time, they all saw him. Outside, the fading sun warmed the precinct lot in dusty gold. Near the curb, a girl waited, 14, in a wrinkled school uniform, satchel by her feet. Clara Thorne hadn't blinked since her father disappeared behind that door. When Silas emerged, uncuffed but marked, her voice broke first. "Dad, are you okay?" He didn't speak. He just opened his arms. She ran to him, and they stood there locked in a long, silent embrace. Around them, the officers, those who had mocked and shoved, watched but none approached. Some turned away. Others busied themselves. Still holding Clara, Silas glanced over his shoulder. His voice was soft, almost gentle. "Today it was me. Tomorrow, it might be your son." The words weren't a threat. They were a fact. Clara clung tighter. He guided her to the car, the same car they'd nearly impounded. It was no longer a target. It was home point 2 days later, in a quiet office in Ethelberg's criminal division. Silas typed with purpose. His hands, still bruised, moved deliberately over the keys. His article was titled, "The Day I Was Handcuffed for Being from Oakhaven." He told everything, from the plaza to the cuffs to Clara's eyes. But he didn't write as a victim. He wrote as someone who understood silence and had finally chosen not to wear it anymore. The story went live on a small news site. Within hours, it spread. Thousands shared it. Hundreds responded. "My son was arrested for wearing a hoodie. My husband was stopped for driving a nice car. My brother was cuffed for walking home from work." Interview requests followed. Schools and community centers asked him to speak. Silas chose the small rooms. "I'm not here to talk about myself," he told them. "I'm here to talk about all of us." He wasn't the man who'd been wronged. He was the man who hadn't stayed silent. And in that, others found their voice. Then the statement came, quiet, almost buried. Lieutenant Hadrian Croft suspended pending review into misconduct. The precinct shifted. 2 officers requested transfers. 1 retired early. But the most changed was Flynn, the one who'd pressed enter, who'd watched the truth unfold on a screen and couldn't forget it. Flynn transferred to the Human Rights Unit. There, he listened more. Weeks later, he wrote a letter, handwritten on lined paper. "Dear Mr. Thorne, thank you for not yelling. Thank you for not making me feel small, even when I was. You didn't just open my eyes. You made me ashamed of how long they've been closed. Since that day, every time someone says suspect, I ask of what? Because of you, I listen harder. With respect." Flynn Silas read the letter late at night. The lamp glowed. Oakhaven's breeze came through the window. Next to the letter sat a photo of Clara, age 5, toothless grin that he folded the letter and placed it beside the frame. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. But something shifted. Not closure. Not justice. Just the beginning of something. Sunday came with crisp air and slow sunbeams. In the park, Clara ran ahead, book in hand, laughter light. Silas walked behind her, hands in pockets, steps easy. He sat beneath a maple tree, closed his eyes that a voice interrupted. "You're the judge from the video, aren't you?" A woman stood beside him, groceries in one hand, tears in the other. "My son was arrested for carrying a textbook," she said. No one listened. "But when I saw you, I felt like someone finally did." Silas didn't reply. He just touched her hand gently. Clara ran back. "Why do people keep thanking you?" He stroked her hair. "Because this time," he said, "I didn't stay silent. They sat together as the world turned quietly around them. One story among many, still unfinished.